Happy Friday. Today it's Friday, December 5th, and it's about 12:30 in the afternoon, and I am doing a little bit of Christmas shopping. And just gonna run some errands. I'm going towards Eastgates. And I'm just gonna take a couple of minutes to chit chat as I drive. So it's been a busy week. This week is National Grief Awareness Week, which is something that I have been a very strong advocate for well, especially in the last 8 years, but something that I have been I've been a pretty big advocate for it even longer. My brother died in 2005, my brother Hunter, and then in 2007, that's when I had our son Joshua. He was stillborn. And I don't know if it was the fact that I was 18 and pregnant, or I think that had a lot to do with it. You know, my family coming from a religious family, getting knocked up and not being married, you know, was also like the scandal of the century, and everything like that. But when I had Joshua, I really didn't feel like I was allowed to grieve. And when I did, I would have all kinds of statements said like, this was God's punishment, and you weren't meant to have a child. If it was meant to be, it was meant to be. Everything happens for a reason. Bullshit statements like that. I felt like I couldn't grieve. So 10 years later, in 2017, when we had Anya and Bree, our twin girls. Bree is our surviving twin. When Anya died at 2 months old, I was really hit by grief terribly, and it's something that I will deal with forever. And it's the same, grieving for my brother and grieving for Josh. Grief is something that is permanent. How long did you expect to love your brother or your child or your friend who died? You expect to love them forever, so that's how long you're going to be grieving them. Sometimes it's better than others. Sometimes, sometimes it's just a lot better. But in the last several years, I've lost a lot of friends who don't understand that grief is I used to say grief is terminal, but that's not it. Like, it's something that you'll have forever or die from, which I don't agree with now. Grief is, though, forever. Grief is a forever thing. So, just some periods are better. Some periods it's just not as sharp. It's just, there isn't, the sting is not so sharp. And that is something that I have been wanting to normalize for a very long time. I also want people to know that there's no timeline on it, that it doesn't matter if it happened yesterday, 2 months ago, 2 years ago, 20 years ago. It's something that will be with you literally forever. Because I also have so many people, well, it's been so long. It's been, 20 years since my brother passed, 8 years since Anya died, 18 years since Josh, and that's also something like, there's no timeline. So I have been an advocate for normalizing grief for a very long time, and this week is National Grief Awareness Week. So yeah, it's a lot this time of year anyway, because the holidays, grief tends to be just a little extra stingy. We were doing the angels last week, and that's another thing. I'm going to stop up at the craft store and buy some more beads for angel charms. And yeah. But yeah, grief has been on my mind a lot lately. I was kind of really having just a really tough week last week. Grief was just kind of getting me down. But this week it's a little bit better. A lot of this coincides too with like my mom's health. So yeah. I feel like grieving starts to get kind of worse when things are just more, when things are busier, and like, you know, when I'm taking my mom to the doctor and everything. When it starts to get like that, it's just, you know, when things start getting heavier, that's when grief starts really getting worse for me. Around you, buddy. And so yeah. Whoopsie. We're going kind of over here. So yeah. That's my little talk about grief. It lasts forever. There's no timeline. It can hit you 20 or 30 years later, you know, 50 years later. So, and that's just something I want to normalize. I want that to be like something that everybody knows. I don't want people to feel uncomfortable when a mother talks about her child who died, or a sister or a brother who talked about their sibling who died. I want to, and where they get, you know, where somebody gets sad about it, I want that to be normalized. I don't want people to feel awkward around it, like to where that the grieving person feels ostracized. I've experienced that. My husband has experienced that, and that's what I want to eliminate. That's why grief should be normalized. Okay, so yeah, woo. And it also, again, I'm bringing up, it also got me thinking about Mavdog. You know, a lot of people are experiencing grief over him passing away, and stuff. So, and I see a lot of people talking about how they're taking the time to grieve, which is just fantastic. I'm gonna get over. And I'm so proud and happy to hear that people are taking the time to grieve a friend. A lot of times, I know with me even, so I'm 37, and a lot of us are kind of in this generation where we're the first generation to have like online friends. I read it somewhere that we're like the first generation to have, you know, online friends, and there's traffic on the bridge. Okay. We're the first generation to have online friends, you know. I guess, you know, Gen Xers too, but you know, I'm a millennial. Anyway, that's not important. I don't want to get off. But I know, like, for me, I have had some very, very close online friends. And when they have passed away, you don't know how, it's so hard to get that closure, or that, it's so hard to get that closure, that finale, like that. It's so hard to get peace from that, because you didn't necessarily meet them online, or I mean offline, sorry. It's starting to get a little hairy up here traffic wise, I think. You didn't meet that person in person. You might have. I've met several online friends that I That's not my point. Anyway, on track here. Okay. It's hard to get closure for somebody that you keep in touch with primarily online, because you might not be able to travel to their funeral. You might not have ever met them in person or given them a real hug. You might not have ever had the opportunity to do like anything really, except for, chat, Skype, FaceTime, whatever. And that's difficult. That's hard to really, I know for me, I know many people who have had like strictly online relationships, which is something that, and I'm not trying to be critical here, it's something that I can't understand it, because like a loving romantic relationship for me includes physical touch. I remember somebody once said, well, it's difficult for me. There's somebody who struggles with gender dysmorphia, and they in-person dating was difficult for them, which I understand. After they said that, I was like, oh, okay, I see it now. I understand that point of view. But like, it's hard for me to really, even when you have a really good online friend, I still feel like it's still hard for me. They're as real as the day is long. But when they pass away, or when something happens, it's kind of like it's not like somebody that you knew physically. Instead of like feeling an empty void because you don't have anybody to hang out with, you have an empty void because you're sitting there waiting for somebody to call you up on, well, in my days we use Skype. I don't even think Skype exists anymore. Call you up on Zoom or whatever, hit you up on Facebook or Discord or whatever it is these days. I just sounded very old. So anyway, to tie this back in with grief, I feel it's hard for me grieving an online friend, especially one that I personally, I only saw Mav on Fridays. Every once in a while he would send me a private message and I would send him a private message. And I kept up with the Discord. I would read through the Discord, but I still feel, oh no. Oh shit. Oh, this is gonna take forever. Oh no. Two right. Are we really down the one lane up here? Oh, I did not know this. Oh my god. Well, this ranks up there with one of the dumbest mistakes I have made. Wonder if I could take beach mods. Up there. Well, I may be turning you off to get the map up to make sure, because I get turned around if I take beach mod. I'm trying to go to Eastgate. I am doing that's New Richmond. I'm trying to do some Christmas shopping, and yeah. Okay, well, I mean, this is actually great. I feel like I can talk and I'm not like jeopardizing my driving. Okay, so anyway, back on to tie, online friends grieving. It's hard for me I feel kind of like maybe an imposter, grieving somebody I didn't know personally, like in real life. Even though you feel such a loss. So, you know, the whole situation sucks. Knowing a lot about grief or having a lot of knowledge about grief also sucks. However, and I know a lot of people get kind of frustrated when I bring the subject up, but I'm not bringing it up to be sad. You know, I think too, a lot of times people think I bring up topics to make it all about me or to make people sad, or, you know, but it's not that I am trying to do that. I'm trying to turn it into a conversation. So yeah. Anyway, that's why grief should be normalized. I am so pleased to see a lot of people saying that they are taking the time to grieve somebody, especially somebody that most of us knew online, and because we're in a place where a lot of us have had online friends, primarily specific, you know, that we have only known online, and there are going to be a lot of people you grieve, and you know, so yeah. So anyway, I'm afraid to do too much messing around on my phone while it records, because I don't want to tip off any popo. So I'll just chit chat about random things. So everybody's doing okay. I always get a little bit nervous. I feel like I really start to jinx myself when I do these videos and I say, oh yeah, everything's great, you know, my mom had great scans and spousal unit had great scans, and you know, because every time I do that, then the next day something always happens. So yeah. Things are going really great at Deer Rose. Unfortunately, we have been dealing with stealing. So I set up the nesting box, and it is like full, ready to go. This is our first winter with the nesting box, and honestly, this is the first. I mean, the nesting box is only like more than 6 months ago. About 6 months ago. I mean, the nesting box is only 6 years old. It's been with us for a summer and autumn, and now we are and we're headed into winter. We're at December 5th, and so yeah. But sadly, we have been dealing with thieves. Somebody, and it's not just thieves, it's one person coming and taking things and not paying for them. And I mean, that's the risk that you have when you use the honor system. So yeah. That's the risk that you have when you use the honor system. These things happen. But it is a bummer. Several of my soaps were gone. All of my Wicked bath bombs were gone. little crafts that the kids made, and they were gonna get that money and take it. They'll still get it. I mean, we'll give it to them, but I mean, this happens. It's it's the risk that we take with using the honor system, but it is discouraging. Making these items, crocheting these items, the kids making their little crafts, making soap, making bath bombs, putting honey together, canning everything. That all takes a lot of work. And it is not just like a one-day thing. It is like canning honey is something that takes the bees months to create. Canning vegetables, it takes planting and watering and weeding and caring and picking and then canning and then setting it. I mean, it's it's months and months of working out in the sun, working out in the heat. It is discouraging to have somebody just come and take. We do have security cameras set up, and we have had them up since day one, so we know who this person is. So yeah. But it's just very disappointing. Guess I'm doomed to be behind trucks today. But yes, it's disappointing. And it's discouraging because it's it kind of makes me not want to set things out. But then, you don't want to ruin one person to ruin something for everybody. But yeah, so that's a bummer, dealing with thieves, or dealing with theft, I guess you should say. Kids are excited for Christmas. We still are just it's so slow getting everything up and together. Still don't have the outside lights on our house, which James doesn't understand why I decorate our house, because nobody's driving up to our house. We live back on a rural road. Nobody's coming back there. And he is right. But I also like to decorate our house outside our house. I like to drive up and see my Christmas lights. But we still haven't gotten that done. The tree, we still haven't completely finished the tree. We haven't got the tinsel on it. We hadn't, that's where grief kind of played a part last week. So Thanksgiving was last week. Black Friday was a week ago. Yeah, and then I had my infusion on Black Friday. That sucked. Black Friday was also Brandon's birthday. I was so disappointed when I was there on Halloween as well. I get my infusion, and they're like, okay, your next date is November 28th. And I was like, oh, that's Brandon's birthday. And I was like, oh, that's Black Friday. So I was hosting Thanksgiving this year, and putting all this stuff together, and then getting the house clean, and busy week for Thanksgiving, and then hosting Thanksgiving, and then the next day I had to have my infusion. Really sucked. But yeah, TQL. I'm getting close to where I need to be. Sorry for rambling so long. Too on this. Once once I was done talking about grief, I just didn't reach and turn it off. Uh-oh, that doesn't look good. But yeah, the kids have their Christmas assembly coming up, which I'm looking forward to seeing. Last year it was very cute, and Bree, I thought it was so sweet that Bree got up with her class, and they all sang like Christmas carols and everything, and Bree was sitting there signing the whole time. She was signing, and I thought, oh, isn't that, it just made me so happy that that signing is something that she seems like something that she's just going to stick with. I don't now. JD does. He signs a lot of times as well. He says he doesn't even realize he'll be lecturing in class, and he will also be signing as he does it, as he teaches. So that's pretty cool. It's exciting. I get, I'm gonna go ahead and get over, and yeah, I also know that I sound weird. I don't know why my voice sounds hoarse today, but I feel fine. But yeah, I'm almost where I need to go. But yeah, we're looking forward to the kids and Christmas, and looking forward to everything, I guess. So yeah, gosh, this has been going on for so long, this video. I've probably drained my battery. Well, I doubt anybody even watched this whole video. I doubt anybody watches even the first few minutes of it. So yeah, but if you did, thank you. Wow. I appreciate it. Yeah. Alright, well, I'm at a red light here, so I'm gonna turn this off. Bye, guys.